So this presentation is about sleep and healthy sleep habits. I hope that at the end of this presentation you'll learn something new about how much sleep you need and what can happen if you don't sleep enough, and how you can figure out if you are sleeping enough, if you're getting enough sleep, and figure out the things that keep you from getting enough sleep. So these are the quick facts about sleep. First, we spend 1/3 of our life sleeping. That's a pretty long time, isn't it? So how old are you, Faith, for example? Seven?
I'm 7.
Okay, so
And
if you are
she's
7,
too.
if you are 7, then you slept approximately 2.5 years. So you're about, yeah. Can you imagine you slept for 2.5 years? It's hard to imagine, isn't it? Okay, so what is the proper amount of sleep? So is there anybody here between the ages of 6 and 12?
Me and Faith.
Okay, so there's 2 of you. So you should be getting from 9 to 12 hours of sleep a day. Okay, so is anybody here between the ages of 13 and 18?
Me.
So you should be getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep. And the rest, 18 and above, you should be getting 7 or more hours. Now, do you think people usually get enough sleep?
No.
Let's say for adults, how many adults in America do you think do not get enough sleep?
80%?
Seems a little bit too high. So about 1/3 of adults are not getting enough sleep. So 1 out of 3. Okay, how about teenagers? Any ideas? Oh, and it was actually pretty
18%.
close. It's pretty close. 2 out of 3 teenagers are not getting enough sleep in America. And later we'll find out why. So, do you think that sleep is a waste of time?
No.
Okay, so it might seem so, right? Because you're just lying there and not doing anything. So let's see why the sleep is not a waste of time. So while we sleep, our brain processes information that we receive during the day. Just think about how many things you see, hear, smell, touch during the day. So all of that information is in your brain. So it needs to figure out and make sense of it. And while it does that, it also builds memories. So it keeps all that information that you get during the day and it writes it down somewhere in the brain. Okay, so if you don't get enough sleep, it can lead to depression because there's just information overload and your brain has too much information, then you get depressed. Do you know what depression means? It means you're sad and cranky and not happy. Finally, when our brain works, it sends and receives information all the time, right? So it uses chemicals to do that. And by the end of the day, it's full of those used up chemicals that it needs to get rid of. So that's why the sleep is so important for our brain. Okay, how about the body? When we sleep, it looks like our body is dead, right? It's not doing anything. However, it's very busy. It needs to repair and fix and heal and restore and prepare itself for the next day. So here are some things that are going on in the body while you sleep. Rest and digest. What do you think that might mean?
So you're digesting the food you ate and you're getting some rest because you're tired.
That's a very good guess. So rest and digest means during the day when you eat food, your body is using the energy for other things. So at night, when it's just laying still there, it can use that energy to digest the food that you ate during the day. Have you ever heard your parents say if you don't get enough sleep, you get sick? So that's true. And scientists actually prove it. So it's where your immune system think about how many germs you get during the day. You breathe, you smell, you touch, you eat, and you get millions and millions of germs during the day. So during the night, your body is working hard to clean to clean itself from all those germs. How about muscles and bones? So when you're walking, your bones feel the need that they need to recover and get stronger. So that all that happens during the night. And if you exercise, same happens with the muscles. They need time to recover and heal and repair themselves. Have you ever heard your parents tell you that you need to sleep to grow? No, there is a reason for that. So our body produces growth hormones at night. So that's why the more you sleep, the more growth hormone your body produces, and the more you grow. So apparently that's important. So what happens if you don't get enough sleep? Well, first of all, since brain doesn't get enough rest, the next day it's really hard to focus and to think and to process all the information that's coming in. Altered emotional balance. That's kind of a fancy phrase for being cranky, right? So what do you say if someone is cranky? You might ask, did you not get enough sleep? And again, we're talking about the immunity. Remember on the previous slide we talked that during the sleep your body is fighting off all the germs and cleaning up your body. So if you don't get enough sleep, there's too many germs accumulate and you do get sick. So this one is very important for mommy or for female member of the audience. So what happens, impaired glucose sensitivity, that means that your body cannot process the sugar properly, and that can lead to diabetes. And how about this one? Increased blood pressure. So there is numerous studies that link insufficient sleep to increased blood pressure. And we're talking about the growth hormone again. So if you don't sleep enough, you don't get enough growth hormone, and what happens then? You don't grow. Okay, so the more sleep, the better, right? Well, let's see. Apparently, sleeping more than 10 hours has been linked to obesity, high blood pressure, low level of good cholesterol, and high fasting blood glucose. So if you don't get enough sleep, and if you sleep for longer than 10 hours, you're running the risk of getting these diseases. So, wrong. It's not true that the more sleep, the better. What about naps? Do you think naps are important? Well, the answer is it depends. Naps are normal for children under 7. And not just normal, are required for children under 7. So you are past that, so you don't have to worry about taking naps. But for older age, the data suggests different results from taking naps. If you are not getting your recommended hours for your age, and you are adding those hours by doing naps, that's good. However, if you are getting, again, more than 10 hours, if you include the naps, then it's going to be too much, which is not good for your body. So there was a study that they tried to find out what is better for teenagers, taking naps or just taking regular rest breaks without use of electronics, mind you. So they actually found out that both are good, but rest breaks were actually better when you just turn off everything and just let your brain rest. And there is generally more than 1 hour of nap is not recommended. There is also a connection between taking naps and chronic diseases, which goes both ways. So different data suggest different. Some data suggests that if you have chronic diseases, you might be prone to taking naps because you might get sleepy during the day. But then on the other hand, there is also data that suggests if you do take naps but over the recommended amount, then you might develop some diseases. So what can keep us from sleeping? So for children, what do you think can keep children from getting enough sleep or getting a good sleep?
Scaredness.
Scaredness? That's actually, yes, that was one of the answers. So the first one is plain uncomfortable. Now it can be the bed is uncomfortable, it can be there is light in the room, or there is noise. So uncomfortable is actually in the first place for keeping children from sleeping. And then we get worried, stressed, or excited. So any emotional state, if you're aroused, if you're worried about something, you're excited, if you have a birthday party coming, that might keep you from sleeping too. Okay, how about adolescents? Who are adolescents, by the way? Do you know who are adolescents? It's the fancy word for teenagers. Okay, so what would be the first place? Well, what is the worst thing that keeps teenagers from sleeping?
Phone time or screen time?
Screen time? Well, let's see. You're absolutely right. Screen time. How did you know? Yes, it is screen time.
That's that a lot.
Second would be social anxiety. So that kind of goes along with the children being worried, stressed, and excited. So I think that goes along with the same category. And finally, schoolwork. I actually found out that adolescents these days are getting too much schoolwork and they're not getting enough sleep. And you will be happy to find out that Center for Disease Control is trying to promote a later school start time. So we're working hard on that. How about adults? What do you think keeps adults from sleeping well? Yes,
Children.
Faith. Children?
The kids.
Did you get that from the picture? That's one of it. Well, the answer is all of the above. Everything that we talked about, and additionally, they have some health issues that also can affect the good sleep. So what can we do to improve the health, sleep, time, and quality? This study was done on kids, but it applies actually to all ages. So they found out that it's actually very helpful to write a journal before bed, because all the experiences, all the emotions that you experience during the day, it helps to write them down on a piece of paper. And that unloads your brain, and it keeps your mind racing through those memories and keeps you from falling asleep. Regular schedule. Nobody likes that, right? However, our body has its own rhythm that you kind of have to keep up with to get a good sleep. So even those weekend sleeps, you might go to sleep late, but then you'll pay for it the next day. Even if you go to sleep late and you wake up late, and even if you sleep the same 10 hours, but if it's shifted off your schedule, that's gonna affect your rest or the feeling of rested the next day. So schedule is very important. There was also an article talking about keeping the regular sleeping schedule during the summer, because obviously kids during summer don't care about sleeping much, right? So it's very important for your health. Exercise. Exercise is good for sleep, because if your body gets tired, then it needs rest, then it's easier to fall asleep. It can be all kinds of exercise, can be strength exercise, can be cardio, running, or it can be just walking. Yoga was a good one to improve your sleep quality. Limit napping. So we kind of talked about it, unless you have to. If you have to add up to your recommended number of hours, that's fine, but if you're getting more than that, that's going to affect your sleep the next day. Good sleeping environment. So obviously that's important. Comfortable bed, no lights, no sounds. Generally they recommend no sounds. However, if you're worried about some foreign sounds disturbing your sleep, you can run a white noise. So the white noise is okay. And finally, No electronics. So how do you know if your sleep is good? So there is 2 questionnaires that I will give you later to fill out, and you actually answer the questions and it gives you the results if you are getting enough sleep and if your sleep is actually good. And there are various resources that you can get off the internet. These are the 3 major sites that I found that give good information about sleep. So in conclusion, your body needs sleep as much as air and food. Lack of sleep is related to diseases. You need to get recommended amount of sleep using naps if needed, and it is possible to get better sleep. And there are resources available to evaluate and improve your sleep. And these are all the articles that I read through to get this information for you. Do you have any questions?
No, but where did you get all those words from? I didn't catch the words.
The words? Which words?
The information,
Information? Or you're talking about this?
where you found it.
This?
Where you found all the information.
Oh, all this information is from the internet. These are all the papers that scientists wrote, and I searched through all those papers to find this information.
Okay.
So this information is reliable and proved by science. So if you happen to get any questions later, here is my contact information. You can call me or you can send me an email and I'll respond to you as fast as I can. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.